Here we go.
You're tuning in to Will Love Listen. Now listen.
Mario Adrian, thank you for joining me today. It's great to see
Yes.
you from Chicago. How was the show last night?
Oh, it was awesome. My wife's from Chicago, and yeah, it was the end of my first tour I'm doing. So it's actually funny because I proposed to my wife 1 year ago on stage in Chicago, and
Nice.
then 1 year later, I'm doing my headlining show at the same club the same weekend. So it was like a nice little
Full circle
like
moment.
full circle moment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was nervous because like I proposed last time, so I was like, how can I top this show? You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And
exactly.
I was like, should I like unpropose? Should I like I don't know, announce a baby or something? But yeah, it was fun. We just yeah, had a great time.
Well, you are headlining a New York Comedy Festival in November. So, and you're on tour
Yeah.
right now. So you've been busy.
Well, yeah, this is my first national tour. Like I'm from Germany, from a small town called Alpirsbach im Hochschwarzwald. So it's a town of like 800 people in the south of Germany. So it's exciting to do all these cities in the US, like Chicago, and yeah, now this tour. The last show in the US is actually going to be in New York for the comedy festival, and yeah, I
That's
love New York. It's one of the most efficient cities I've ever seen in my life. So I'm excited to end the tour there.
Yeah, New York
Yeah.
is something else. So I live right outside of the city. It's something else.
Well, especially when you come from a town of 800 people. Like I first came to the US, I did modeling. So I'm I'm coming from a town of 800 people. My family, they're all lumberjacks and engineers. And then I land in Times Square and I'm in a city of like, 20 million people, which is like which is a crazy adjustment. But I loved it from the get-go.
So how was your life growing up? Obviously, I want to talk about your career and like the modeling work and your comedy work, but I want to like take it back to the beginning. So where did you grow up and how was life growing up in Germany specifically?
Well, the thing is, yeah, I was, like I said, all my uncles were lumberjacks. And in Germany, you can either become an engineer or a techno DJ. That's like the two major career paths in Germany.
Yeah.
But then when I was like 18 years old, I posted an accidental thirst trap on Facebook. It
Yeah.
was just a photo of me at our local like swimming pool. I was shirtless and I was working out at that time. So I had like, abs. And then I posted on Facebook. And then somehow that photo got shared into like various Facebook groups. There
Yeah.
was one called like German hot male model hunks or something like that.
Oh,
And
nice.
from that, a guy in New York, he was a modeling scout. He saw my photo and he messaged me. He was like, "Hey, gorgeous, eggplant emoji, water emoji." He was like,
Yeah.
"You should come to New York and be a model." P.S. You can stay with me at my place in Harlem. And at that time, I didn't know. Honestly, I'd never been to the U.S. before. I didn't know what Harlem was. I just saw that. I was like, "Oh, Harlem. That sounds so exotic, yeah."
Yeah.
So I went. So I went to New York, and I just like traveling. I just like exploring and seeing new things and having adventure in life. So I went to New York without a plan, really. But this guy, it was a little weird, how he approached me, but he was cool, and he just introduced me to my first modeling agency, my first photographers. He helped me get some test shoots to build a portfolio, and then I got signed by an agency and just started modeling. Instead of going to engineering school, I went to become a model, and it was great. I learned a lot, traveled all around the world, Asia, Milan. A lot of like I spent a lot of time in New York. Like I said, I kept coming back to New York. That was one of my favorite places, and yeah, that's how I started. And then I got into comedy. So yeah.
That's great. That's such a crazy story because you got a message. Initially, you'd probably think it's spam, like, what the hell is this? But then you realize it's so legit.
It was so legit, but it was so weird at the same time. And that's just what modeling is. There's a lot of people in the fashion world who do have a lot of context, but it just seems a little weird, especially a guy working for a big agency. You live in New York, so you're still going to live in a studio apartment, even though you have a decent job. So it was at first when I got to his apartment, I was like, oh, this is weird. But yeah, you never know. You never know. And but the truth is, I mean, I would say 80% of my stuff I get on Facebook and Instagram is scam, you
Yeah.
know. But then it's hard to weed out these legit opportunities when it comes to modeling. Yeah.
So how is that? You land here in New York, it's a completely different environment. You have like this stranger who you don't even know helping you and hooking you up. So how was it when you started to get into like the industry? And I know you've done some pretty big campaigns. So if you could share like some of like your biggest like campaigns, that'd be great.
Well, so the thing is, yeah, I did some bigger stuff in the end, but like in the beginning, I was like, it's funny. I came to New York with this big dream, I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
will be a model in New York, and you feel very hot and beautiful when you're in Eifelbach Hochschwarzwald.
Yeah.
But then when you go to New York, you see all these other models with like, they have like, I had six-pack abs. I saw a Brazilian dude, he had 14 abs. I'm not kidding. I've never seen that many abs. It was crazy. Just abs on abs. So then you feel a little like, you're like, oh shit, maybe I'm not as like, good looking. And I had this dream I wanted to work for Calvin Klein. Like I saw a billboard in Times Square. I was like, one day I'll work for Calvin Klein. But my first paid modeling job in New York was actually for it took a couple weeks, was for the online catalog of Target,
Okay.
fully dressed in a full body suit as a muffin. They had like a Halloween campaign they were shooting. So I
Yeah.
was doing and it was so funny because I had this big fashion dream in mind. But my first job was like as a muffin, as a model, you can't eat carbs, but you can become one. So that was like the my intro to modeling, which is very different from what I expected. And
Yeah.
then it took a while. And then later on, once I went to Europe, I did some stuff like I did Bloomingdales, did in Asia, did some campaign for Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh,
These are like the biggest names, I would say Puma, a lot of commercial stuff like Adidas, Puma. Bloomingdales, I worked for them a lot, and Banana Republic in New York a lot. They were a great client. But it all started as a muffin for Target, That's
well, it's only up from there. And like that's
yeah.
and that you went from doing that to doing all these major campaigns. What's been like your favorite modeling campaign that you've done so far?
Let me think. Modeling campaign. Honestly, the ones I could travel for, I think the one for Tommy Hilfiger was in Asia.
Yeah.
We shot it in South Korea, and to me, modeling has always been such a privilege. Not only because modeling itself is cool and all, but I truly love meeting new people and exploring new cultures. I mean, when I went to Korea for that campaign, it was just so cool. I met so many. I went to South Korea. I lived there. You know what I mean? Shot this campaign. They treat you so well there. I meet all the people, and I love traveling, and that's actually why I started modeling. I'm not really into fashion. I like fashion, but I'm not like a huge fashion, a connoisseur or anything like that.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But I don't follow the trends or anything. Yeah, but I did like the fact that I could travel the world as a model. I mean, I lived in, probably like seven different countries for modeling, and that was my favorite thing. And that campaign specifically was just, it was a big name, and the team was so fun. And there was some weird ones too. I did one underwear. I did a lot of underwear modeling.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny. Like you do these underwear campaigns in Asia, and it was like we reenacted like a Calvin Klein ad with it was like Justin Bieber, and they had like these there was a girl, and we had like basically we almost had to like kiss, and like it was very intimate and weird, but like it's so many weird experiences that you don't really get in any other job. So that's always what I like modeling for.
That's awesome. What countries did you live in total? Obviously the US and Germany and Korea, right? South Korea?
Yeah, well, I did Singapore for modeling. I did South Korea. I did some jobs in the Philippines. I did some jobs in Milan, Italy, London. Had some jobs in Germany, obviously, the US, and then Australia. And
Nice.
I think
Australia.
that's it. I may miss something, but yeah,
What was your favorite of
very
all?
different. Oh wow, it's hard to say. So for the money and for the consistency of work, New York City, 1000%.
Yeah.
Because New York is just I personally always worked best in New York, better than in Milan. I don't know, it's just something with my look, I guess, to work better in New York. And I love the city. But when it comes to purely the lifestyle, I would say the Philippines was so fun.
Really?
Because
Okay.
the people,
I
I
thought
don't
you
know,
were
I
going to say
just love
Australia.
Philip. What's up? You're
I
gonna
thought
say
you were
Australia?
actually going to say Australia. Yeah.
Australia was cool. I know Australia also like was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. It's just like I don't know, something about the Philippines. Filipino people are so sweet. I've never met a Filipino that's not sweet. You've never in New York's the opposite. New York's people are
Oh,
all
I
like,
know.
"Oh, go
Trust
F
me.
yourself," you know. Philippines are just so sweet. I love the energy there, and they treat you very well as a model. Of course, you don't make as much money because the money in the Philippines, even for big jobs, is not what you would make in other places. But I lived in the Philippines in like at some point I got my own apartment for
Yeah.
like I think it was like 500 US for like a nice apartment with like a gym and like a pool, like a high rise in like almost 50th floor. It was insane. And they treat me very well. So I love that. And I love that not for the money or for the big jobs, but just for the lifestyle of like
Yeah.
being
The
a model in an
experience.
Asian country. It's really cool. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. I want to make my way down there. There are a lot of places I haven't been. So that's interesting. And how long have you been doing modeling for in total?
Well, so I'm not modeling anymore actively. I started modeling when I was like 19. I'm 30 now. So like I did modeling for like 7 years. And then 3 years ago is when I kind of transitioned more. Like I started making YouTube videos early on in my
Yeah.
career because like I love modeling and again I love the traveling aspect, but I always knew that modeling there was an expiration date. Even as a man, I mean, as a woman, it's even worse. When you're 24, you have to retire as a woman almost. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm
Yeah.
exaggerating, but it's really as a man, it's not that bad. But still, like you kind of transition. I always knew that modeling there's not a lot of longevity, and also I was always a silly kid. Like even though I'm German, we're not known for the ha-has as Germans, yeah.
Yeah.
But I always was very a very silly kid and I was like making fun of things. So I started a YouTube channel early on because I thought modeling was such a funny industry. And I it was almost like Zoolander. Do you know Zoolander?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, with Ben Stiller. So that's kind of like how my YouTube channel worked. I was like, I just want to make fun of the modeling world because it's so serious and blue steel, but I just want to be silly. And I started that early on because I just wanted to be do something more creative because modeling is like you just hot and that's it. That's your job, just look hot and have a
Yeah.
jawline. But with YouTube, I felt like I could storytell, I could be silly. So that grew and it gave me a lot of consistency because modeling, the thing is, I made good money some months. When I did some big campaigns in Singapore, especially. I remember I had like a great month, went to Singapore, did a lot of big campaigns, made good money, especially for, a 19, 20-year-old
Yeah.
um, boy from Alpirsbach in Hochschwarzwald, Germany, like it's good money. But then I went to Milan and I did Fashion Week and I got like maybe two shows for Fashion Week. So I lost money. I was there for like a month or 2 months after that, barely got any jobs. And then you're like, wow, it's so inconsistent. You know what I mean? With modeling. So I was like, I want something more stable. So I did YouTube where I could, kind of be in control of my own career instead of having to please all these casting directors and pray and be desperate for jobs,
Yeah.
because it's very taxing on your mental health when you're like, oh, shit, I need this job so I can live and eat.
Yeah. There's no
But with
security.
YouTube, I was like, yeah, there's no security. So with YouTube, I was very fortunate that I had that. And funny enough, once I had YouTube and I made money with YouTube, I was less desperate about getting jobs, and then I would get more jobs. It's almost like when you're more relaxed and you go into a casting room with like more of a confident, calm energy, I just started booking more jobs. So yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. And you've been doing the YouTube thing for a while, and it's been really going viral over the past several years. So did that just happen naturally, or was there like a method behind that?
Oh yeah, I'm very strategic. I'm German. I'm very organized and all that stuff. But it all happened. So here's the thing: the YouTube thing started not intentional at all. I just made a YouTube video. My first video that kind of blew up on this channel was like it was titled "What Really Happens at New York Fashion Week," where I just wanted to go with my camera and show people what it's like to be a model in New York. And I did this not because I wanted to get views or become famous. I did it because I just wanted a memory for myself. And I
Yeah.
enjoyed the process. I was like, oh, I want to look back in 10 years and be like, hey, this is me when I was modeling in New York, like a video diary, like a vlog, almost like what, vlogs were intended to do before it became like a social media tool. So I made this video just for more like a memory for myself. And then I look back and I didn't even check it. And then like 2 weeks later, I checked and I had like, 80,000 views, which, was a lot for a new channel. I had no subscribers basically. And then the video got 80,000 views. And I was like, wow, this is insane. And then I got all these questions. They were like, hey, Mario, how do you become a model? What's your six pack work? Like, what's your routine, your diet, all this stuff, right? So then I built a community based on that one video. I got questions. And then I made videos based on those questions. So I made a video about it's called My Six Pack Morning Routine or something. And that video then also blew up. And then I had like, it started building this community of like people who want to know more about modeling. And
Yeah.
that's how it organically started. And then I was like, after 5 videos, I was like, whoa, I'm getting a lot of traction, a lot of questions. There's a career here. And that's when it kind of shifted in my mind. And then it became more strategic and I learned more about YouTube. But the beginning was just purely because I love making videos and I wanted to, catch this memory of being a model.
And then you started doing the podcast, yeah, through YouTube right after that.
Yeah, so the podcast is something I wanted to do because a lot of YouTube videos they can be very polished and very, edited
I know.
and
Yeah.
very intentional. Right. And I liked it, that's cool, but I just wanted a more raw way to express myself. So I started my podcast like in I think before, it was before the pandemic, but it took a couple of years because podcasting also wasn't as big when I
Uh,
started, YouTube like in 2016 or something. So yeah, and I love it. So it's a good mix between the highly visual modeling stuff, but then also I wanted to show people that even though you're a model and you look like a douchebag, you know what I mean? I like talking about real shit. I talk about like
Exactly.
very honest topics, even about like experience in modeling. I'm very open about like sexual harassment and assault that happens in modeling, and I think as a man, it's important to talk about this stuff. So that's the podcast was for that, to have a more raw and real way to express myself.
I'm glad you brought that up because that is becoming like a big topic lately, like sexual assault and abuse within like the entertainment industry and its various
Mhm.
fields. So like, did you have you encountered that in your career?
Oh, absolutely. From the beginning, basically. I mean, truly, it's like modeling is one of those fields that people don't talk about enough, especially the male experience, because women obviously are victims of sexual assault and harassment way more than men at large. But specifically in modeling, I think because the industry is run by a lot of powerful gay men,
Yeah.
it lends itself to a lot of abuse. And men, especially when you're a straight man, you often don't talk about it. And you're a man, no matter what your sexuality is. As a man, there's this notion that we cannot talk about, what happened to us because it makes
Yeah.
us unmanly or whatever. It almost feels like it's invalid. Like it invalidates the experience if you're a man. That's why I think it's important to talk about it. So yeah, it started with photographers, just like, I did underwear photo shoots, as I mentioned. Photographers would just be like, can I adjust your underwear? And they would adjust my underwear, but also intentionally try to touch me.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
too
it's
long
little things.
down there. Yeah, probably.
Exactly. And adjust me way more often than needed, you know what I mean, for a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Just crossing a lot of boundaries there. And it's just this, like, I think the issue is the power dynamic because you as a model don't have a lot of power. You are relying on these big photographer, casting directors, and agents to get you jobs. And if you say something, you risk not being considered for a job in the future. So that's why these photographers often feel very confident in crossing your boundaries because they're like, oh, he's a man and he needs me. I
Yeah.
have more power, so he's not going to talk about it. So that happened a lot, and unfortunately, like I mean, I can write a book about the experiences I've had. I mean, it was so many times all over the world. I mean, a lot in the U.S., a lot in Milan, where things like that happens, like sexual assault, even worse things than that. And I've openly talked about that. And again, I think it's important as men to talk about that. And I made a YouTube video about the experience of sexual assault and it was so beautiful that after that video, it was very scary to make that video.
Yeah,
But
I'm
the
sure.
comments and the feedback was absolutely wonderful. So many men came forward and were like, hey, thank you for talking about this. Something similar happened to me, but I never felt like I was allowed to talk about it. So yeah, I'm very proud of that and felt like it left a positive impact
Yeah,
in
that's
sharing that.
yeah, I'm glad you're talking about that. And it's so funny you mentioned that because I just recently did a podcast with Nikki Glazer and we were talking about how we think the number for men who experience sexual assault is much bigger than it is because we feel like a lot of cases go unreported because whether you're gay, straight,
Yeah.
or bi, there's this shame attached to talking about experiences like that. I feel like it's more socially acceptable for women to talk about it than men.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, so I'm glad you're talking
Yeah.
about that. And like, you touched upon like the touching and things like that, but could you speak on what else happened that, you know, if anything happened that was worse than that, etc.?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how explicit I can get in this podcast,
You
but
oh
like,
you very trust me, very.
okay, okay, cool. All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, this is one experience that comes to mind was pretty crazy. It was in Berlin. This photographer was like, I mean, he was like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you for this big magazine cover. Also, offers that were very blatant, like very in your face. It was not like hidden or anything. This just shows the confidence these photographers have. He was like, hey, I'm gonna shoot you for this big magazine cover at a big European magazine. But if you want that, you're gonna have to let me give you a blowjob.
Oh shit.
You
So,
know,
wow,
things
yeah.
like that. And at first, I was so confused. I was like, "Wait, you want to give me a magazine cover and you want to give me a blowjob? Sign me the fuck up!" It's like a double. It's like a receiving twice. It
Yeah.
was just so weird. And things like that happened. And then I I was like, I looked at him. I was like, "What's the magazine? I mean, I need to know. Like, what's the specifics here? Because you got to consider that." But then sometimes it's just like this guy also like needed a photo shoot, and then like I was in underwear, and then he would just out of nowhere, literally no warning, would just like pull my underwear down and would try to literally like sit on me.
Oh, are you
And
wow. Was anyone else around or was it
yeah,
just you two?
no, it's just the two of us. It's
Okay.
a lot of, and that's kind of normal. A lot of photographers that do like, test shoots where it's just like, and again, it was at his place and everything about it was weird, but you just like,
Yeah.
that's just the modeling. Even the big photographers like, Mario Testino, Bruce Weber, a lot of people also like big photographers have been, a lot of people came forward, there's been a male Me Too movement in the modeling world. But this shit is so normal. Like Mario Testino would always invite models to his hotel room for like a test shoot, like almost like a casting.
Yeah.
And you have to shoot naked with him because and it's kind of like he wants it for his personal, like, I mean, I'm just assuming, but that's like a lot of people have talked about this. You have to go far and like do explicit nudes with him, and then you will be considered to for a campaign for whatever he shoots, like for the new Abercrombie campaign or something like that. So that's what happened. And this guy basically I tried to sit on me, and then I told him, like, I was like, no, I'm not, feeling comfortable. It's also very hard for me to say no. Like I'm a non-confrontational kind of guy. I was very young also. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that pisses me off the most is if these guys do it to young people, because now I'm older, I know who I am, more confident, I have more life experience. So now if somebody did this to me, it'd be different than like, when you're 18, 19-year-old kid, like that's crazy, even if you're of age, that's just like, you're not a fully formed human or adult yet, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then he was like, the crazy thing was like, that was the crazy thing. I told him like, no, I'm not comfortable. And then he told me, I never forget this. He was like, Mario, listen, this is the fashion industry and you have to be more open if you want to be successful in the fashion industry. So he almost blamed me for not wanting to engage after he assaulted. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like
I also
crazy. I
view it
mean,
as like a
crazy like that. Yeah,
I also view it as like a warning. It's almost like he was saying, listen, if you want to get ahead in this field, this is what you have to deal with. It
pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. So that's one of the experiences. And the one that's the most explicit one, the most intense one, I guess, was I was in China and I did a modeling job there. And then this big boss of a Chinese company was like, hey, the boss wants to see you for dinner in private, you
yeah.
know? And you just say, I was like, at first I have a joke about it. I was like, yeah, at first I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to meet up with a stranger in China. That's very unprofessional. But then they told me that he's a billionaire who owns multiple huge fashion brands all over the world. So we're hanging out at his place. So I have like a little joke about it because I'm hanging out at this guy's place and very powerful guy. And he wants to watch a movie with me. And he put on the movie Inglorious Bastards, which is very weird.
Yeah.
And then the Chinese version because he doesn't speak English that well. So it was so crazy. I was like, I'm in China. I'm watching a movie about Germans played by American actors speaking Mandarin with a guy next to me that's Chinese and with German subtitles. I was like, this is crazy. And then he asked me if I want to do some drugs. And so I did ketamine with him. I'd never done drugs before. I'd never done ketamine. But again, there was this pressure to like, you know, just do stuff. And then I heard this guy in my head who was like, Mario, you have to be more open if you want to be successful. So then I did some ketamine and I got into like I don't even know if it was ketamine. Basically, I was drugged and I couldn't I couldn't move. And then and then he basically assaulted me. And it's a very intense story. But like I have jokes, and I think, man, the thing is in comedy right now, I'm writing a whole bit about this experience because I think comedy, there's so much power in comedy talking about very real things.
Oh, I
Right.
completely agree. Yeah.
So I have some jokes about that where I'm like, this is crazy. And I told my modeling friends about this. I went back to New York and I told them, I was like, hey guys, I just, did a modeling gig in China and this guy drugged and raped me. And they were like, oh my God, bro, you got a modeling gig in China? I got to call my agent, dude. That's crazy. Like just to show how bizarre this modeling world is and how normal stuff like that has really become. Um, yeah. And that's why I want to talk about it. Yeah.
Wow. I think that's incredible that you're talking about it. And like the timing is perfect because I feel like how all these secrets within the industry are being exposed. And honestly, like you could correct me if I'm wrong. I almost feel like you see like a lot of models who are beautiful, they have great careers. And then as time goes on, it's like they get addictions later in life. Do you feel like that's because of maybe some things that they've gone through behind the scenes and they never dealt with it, so they start leaning on drugs, alcohol, or whatever the fuck it be? Because there are a lot of people that have become super successful, and then you see as time goes on, they develop some type of substance abuse problem. Do you feel like it's because of like
Oh
so
yeah.
many secrets like this, like maybe sexual assault that are repressed?
I certainly do think that's one part. Another part could also be similar to child actors when you get a lot of validation. I think more so for women because women is like, I mean, wow, I've met some women that were like 14 years old and did modeling gigs in Japan. They're from the Ukraine. I met this girl, she was like 15 when she got a contract in Japan, flew
Yeah.
to Japan, made tens of thousands of dollars per photo shoot flying around private jets she's being flown around the world by these rich people, you know what I mean? And so you get so much validation for your looks. and your self-worth is based on your looks. So when they fade, when you get older, I think that's where you lose a lot of the a sense of self-worth. If all your self-worth is based on what you look like, and you've only been conditioned to get love and validation for the way you look, it's
Yeah.
very difficult getting older. More so than for any. That's why, like, I think that's for women. I'm emphasizing so much with women because all the experience. By the way, I want to say this real quick. All the experience I've gone through, if you think about it, like all the sexual harassment, being objectified, being valued for your looks as a model, that is like I was paid as a man to live the life of every woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because women at large go through that, like in basically any industry. So for women, it's even tougher. And then, of course, the repressed trauma. A lot of times, it's just it's hard to confront these things. It took me a long time after this whole thing happened to me. It took me 5 years to actually acknowledge that it was sexual assault. I always was like, oh, it's just an experience, whatever. It's kind of like a funny story. I kind of buried it because I knew that I had to be confronted with similar situations while I was modeling. So it took me to quit modeling, do a lot of like therapy, whatever, psychedelics, and talking to friends to really acknowledge, okay, this was not cool, because I kind of shoved it away because it was easier that way.
Yeah.
But luckily I've now dealt with it. It's still definitely like was not an easy thing to overcome, but in talking about it openly here on stage even is helping a lot. Yeah. And then also to the point of substance abuse. I mean, the modeling industry, fashion industry, as you can imagine,
Yeah.
is full of drugs. The amount of cocaine is like, it's insane at these fashion week, and the
Yeah.
industry is super, like, it's very drug heavy in modeling. That's another aspect of it. But yeah, I'm imagining a lot of models, yeah, use drugs. That's definitely true.
So that, yeah, I figured that. Yeah. Wow. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, I've even been at industry parties and stuff like that, and I see and get offered fucking drugs, and obviously I'm like, no, but I can only imagine like the bigger you get, the more it's at your disposal. It's also a numbing,
Mhm.
so that it's like I feel like sometimes you're served it so that you do whatever the fuck someone asks of you, such as what happened with you with the
Sure.
experience.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, there's another aspect of it, which is like weight control. I know a lot of girls who relied on it heavily. Weirdly enough, with men, I think in that sense, male modeling is a little healthier because even though there are a lot of body issues, right? Because as the model, as a male model, you have to be in shape. Like I said, this guy with 14 abs made me feel insecure, even though I was in great shape. Objectively looking, I was in fantastic shape, but there's always people who are more beautiful than you, so that kind of messes with you.
Yeah.
But as a woman, it's like, wow, you have to be so skinny to fit into these like dresses and stuff like that. I was dating a model, and while I was in New York, and she had casting for Victoria's Secret, and she looked so beautiful, and she was so in great shape. She was like an absolute, like, perfectly looking woman, but they told her that she was too big, and I was like, that's crazy, so she went through a phase where she would like literally starve herself, and I saw how much mentally how much pressure there was on her to be in shape. So then a lot of models, they go to these fashion week castings, and I've seen that, where they go to the bathroom, do some cocaine, come back, don't feel hunger, obviously suppresses the appetite. So that's also one thing why a lot of female models that are very skinny use drugs. It's just to, like, yeah, stay in shape and
Well, you
get
could write.
energy for the casting.
I mean, this is so informative and it's so interesting. It's like behind the scenes tea. You could really do a book on this.
Yeah, you know what I'm planning to do right now? I'm planning to do a one-man show for the next year for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, talking about this because I think it's quite interesting. I have a lot of angles on it, and the whole modeling thing. Yeah, I'm open to it. I've have some things, some ideas in the future to write about this because I talk about this on YouTube, potentially a show. Have you seen Baby Reindeer?
No, I have not. Sorry.
No, I have not. Highly recommend it. Baby Reindeer is one of the greatest shows I've seen in a long time. It's on Netflix. It's about the experience of a comedian who basically went through sexual assault and also through a stalker. But it's so beautiful how raw and honest he talked about his experience. So that was really inspiring for me to see that a man will talk about his deepest traumas in such an open and vulnerable and raw way. And it
Yeah,
was an absolute masterpiece. Highly recommend it. It's a very quick watch. It's like, I think, 8 episodes, very quick. I saw it and I was deeply touched and inspired. So yeah, I'd love to put this in writing in some form, or make it into a show or something at some point down the road.
that's great. That's great. I love that you're so open about all this. This is like, you know what I mean? It's like it's good. And
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I like breaking the stereotypes of models being, douchebags and serious and self-obsessed, and then also men. I want to break the idea of what men can and can't do. Like I love men who are a bit more vulnerable. I think it's important. I think it would make the world a better place if we men were a little bit more
oh, I
just
agree.
open about how we feel. Yeah.
Yeah, I think things wouldn't be so stigmatized, especially for men, if everyone was
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and I do have to ask this before we move on to like the comedy work. So, having worked in modeling, how do you even, you still have a great body. So, how do you maintain it? Is it honestly genetics more so, or do you actually adhere to some type of like workout or diet regimen?
Yeah, I'm gonna work out and eat very well for the rest of my life. And it's not just because I want to look good, it's just because I want to feel good. Like I started working out when I was like as a kid I didn't care, but then when I was 15 years old, I went to Peru for 1 year. I lived in South America
Oh,
and I
nice.
did Taekwondo. Yeah, I loved it so much. And I did Taekwondo and I just started working out and I was like, wow, how good I can feel once I'm just healthy. So what I do, yeah, I eat very clean. I eat carrot. I love carrots. I don't eat processed things. It's a little harder in America. I don't want to shit on America too
Or,
much, but like the
I
food
didn't
here is
ever.
definitely
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely easier in Europe, but no, I live in Los Angeles too, so there's a lot of healthy options. But yeah, I love working out. I mean, I work out like 3 times a week. I became such a LA yoga girl too. I do yoga and hot
I
yoga and all
love
this stuff.
yoga.
I
Yeah.
just yeah, I love it. It's like so grounding. And again, I do because I of course want to look good, but also like it's just I work so much and I write every day. I do social media. Social media is such a like taxing job, like emotionally too, like the numbers, getting views. So like to me, working out, it just resets me. After this, I'm gonna go for a work. I'm in Chicago. I'm gonna go for a run along Lake Michigan, do some like, pull-ups in the park, and I'm gonna come back and feel so, just refreshed. So that's one thing I will never stop. And not because I need to fit into designer jackets for modeling or do underwear jobs, just because I just want to look good and feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. Mentally, it helps too, I feel.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you've acquired a lot of modeling success, but you transitioned into like the YouTube success and social media, and now you're really like going strong with the comedy. So how did you pivot from like making it just like a viral YouTube channel into comedy?
That's a big question. That's a big challenge also. I mean, I just made the decision of like, honestly, only like a year ago, I fully made the decision, hey, stand-up comedy is the number one thing I want to do. Because before it was like, first I was a model,
Yeah.
and then it shifted. I don't feel authentic with modeling anymore. It's kind of limiting. I want to express myself creatively. So then my identity shifted from being a model to being a YouTuber. And now it shifts and it's always hard. Like as a model, it was hard. People are like, why would you want to do this? You're a model, you have this good career, why do you want to do YouTube?
Yeah.
And but it felt like sometimes you shouldn't pick the easy route. You should pick what feels authentic to you. And YouTube felt much more authentic than modeling, right? So then, and I still was like a mix between both, right? And now I'm at the point where like comedy is the way harder path. Like I could make way much more money. Like my money dropped a lot since I started like fully focusing on comedy because I'm newer to comedy. I'm establishing my brand as a comedian. Like I made a lot of money and had good like brand deals and from doing modeling content and also more sexy content, posting hot guy photos and stuff like that. And that was cool. I enjoyed it, but I just felt like it was not as authentic as doing comedy, and comedy is way harder. So then a year ago, made the decision, hey, everything I do, it's going to be comedy first, right? And it's been hard, but truly through like, writing every day, um, focusing more on short form on Instagram. Like I'm posting like 10 videos a week. So I'm working a lot. Like I'm writing before this, I was writing new ideas. I'm writing comedy every day. It's been tough getting people to understand that I'm not just a model and a hot guy, but also a comedian. Because
Yeah.
it's almost like you don't think that somebody who's like, conventionally attractive would be a comedian. And a lot of people are surprised by that. I mean, people who come to my shows, they sometimes know me from modeling and from my old brands. And they're like, Mario, I had no idea that you were funny. You know what I mean? Because it's something that my old brand didn't really, it's not really obvious, right? And there's a lot of stereotypes about being a model. And yeah, I like breaking them. It's been challenging, but I don't want to sound too philosophical or like too cheesy, but I truly think that whatever you feel and that it feels right to you to do, to pursue, you got to go for it, even though it's the harder thing. Because I feel so much more fulfilled since I made the switch to comedy, and it's growing. I mean, I'm very confident that in a year from now, I'll make the same amount of money or more than I used to make for modeling because I'm just much more passionate about comedy at
Yeah.
this stage of my life. Yeah.
And you're doing like, you're touring now already and you're doing like big shows like the comedy festival. So, I mean, and honestly, you have such a good career modeling. You could always tap into it if, you really can.
I mean, yeah, maybe if I wanted to, but I also like, once you get older as a man, I'm also like a little over it. I don't think I could go back to a casting anymore. But I still do modeling jobs, by the way. I did a job recently for American Crew for like a hair thing, but
Oh,
they
no.
just like booked me. I didn't go to a casting. I didn't have to like go starve myself, go to Fashion Week castings. You know what I mean? Get rejected 20 times to get one job that pays like five. No, I just like, they just booked me, they knew me, and it was great. So I'll definitely do stuff like that, but I'm not gonna like, go through all that stuff again. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's good.
exactly.
No, I have a fallback plan. I can always, post some hot guy photos and kind of have a fallback plan, which feels nice. But yeah, I'm all in on comedy for sure. Yeah.
So how's it been going over the past year?
It's been great. This is my first national tour. I'm very excited. I have a great manager. I love him, Steven. He's absolutely amazing. He really
Yes,
helped me
great.
find find that new identity as a comedian. And yeah, the first show, I mean, it's growing a lot. The first shows were like, I was selling maybe half, of the ticket. So like, I had good shows. Didn't sell out all the shows, depending on, some areas are better too than others. But now towards the end of my tour, I can really see an increase in like the ticket sales too. The last show now, Chicago was sold out at Zany's last night. So I'm really excited just to like step into that. And my favorite thing about touring has been seeing America because I'd never been to Central Florida before. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was so funny to me because I've been to for modeling jobs. I did a job once in like Chicago. I did a job obviously in LA, New York. I did a job in San Francisco, but I never saw. I never been to Arizona. I've never been to like Central Florida. I've never been to like all these places that are. I've been to Minneapolis. All these places that are like
They're
you
so
wouldn't necessarily visit, but it was cool for me as a foreigner to see that. Like I went to a Cracker Barrel in Central Florida, and it's just the stuff you see there. It's just so funny. It was next to a gun range, next to like American flags, and I was like, wow, this is such a different side of America
yeah.
that it's important for me to learn more about America as a whole, even as a comedian. So that was my favorite part, seeing America, meeting people also in person, because like I can have a YouTube video that has 1 million views, but it's not the same as making 150 people laugh in a comedy club and talking to them after and meeting actual locals from Nashville. Like that's been an absolute privilege. And what I love about comedy the most is the in-person aspect, and it's just real. It's more real than social media. And yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. And especially because like you're not familiar with America, you kind of get to see how it's very different depending upon where you go.
Yeah, it's wildly different. Oh my God. It's almost like a different country. It's almost like different countries in Europe. Like
Yeah.
Central Florida was the craziest one. Like again, the Cracker Barrel was so funny. I walked in, there was like everybody was 100 years old, at Cracker Barrel. Have you been to Cracker Barrel?
I know I don't go there, but I know how the vibe is. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh my God, it was so funny. I was like, you're so old. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be running for president or something? They were so old, you know what I'm saying? And then we had like yeah, it's just like so funny. Like diners to me, that's also one thing Americans don't get, but like to me, diners in small towns, yo, that is the coolest thing for me. Because we don't have diners. You know what I'm saying? Like we grew up with movies about like, slurping a milkshake with a date at a diner, falling in love with a cheerleader. All these movies we watch, this is very retro and like Greece and all this stuff. And then diners, we don't have them in Germany. So like the way you guys go to Europe and you see your castles, you guys like, oh my God, the castle's so gorgeous. Yeah. I have the same feeling when I go to Denny's. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so American, you know what I mean? Like breakfast all day. I'm like, wow, this is so crazy. So to me, the diners are really like such a fun American experience. And Americans don't really, whenever I tell people I love going to like Central Florida or something, people are like, why? But because it's just so fun and so American. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love seeing that.
I like Florida actually. I mean, I live in New Jersey where it's cold half the year. So I like going to like
Sure.
Florida or like Nevada, Vegas area because of the weather, really. Um, and it seems like
That makes
everyone's a
sense.
little bit more relaxed than they are up here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I mean I lived in New York, and I feel like New York after a while. I respect how efficient it is, and whenever I go to New York, I go there like almost every month for comedy shows and stuff like that because there's more going on than in LA. And every time I go there, a week in New York is so packed, it feels like a month in LA. You know what I mean? It's so much more intense. But I think if I lived in New York or New Jersey, I think I would like burn out after like a while because I work very hard and do a lot. So I think you need a little bit of a break in that balance. So that's why I love being between LA and New York too, because one, LA is too chill for me. It's too relaxed, because I'm a very high energy person. And then New York, I think if I lived there, it could be burning me out. So I love the balance between the two. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you were telling me like off camera, you lived in New Jersey, Hoboken, for like a
Yeah, so I mean, so my modeling experience, by the way, when you think about modeling, people think it's like this glorious, glamorous lifestyle. It's really not. Like I lived in a model apartment during Fashion Week. One time I lived in a model apartment with like seven dudes sharing one bathroom.
that's
Okay, at these model apartments. So I had one in Hoboken too. They would always move me. Like I would come to New York usually on 2 month contracts for Fashion Week mainly, like in September or like in July as a men's Fashion Week or was. I would come and then yeah, stayed in Bushwick, New York, stayed in NoHo in a very nice area. And then I stayed in Hoboken, which honestly, Hoboken I really liked
yeah, it
because
Hoboken's fun, yeah.
it was cool. And it's just like the coolest thing when you're from a small town, you walk outside Hoboken and you just see the skyline of New York City. That was wild. There's also there was a German bakery in Hoboken. I remember that. I forgot what it's called, but it was like it's so German. It's more German than
Yeah,
Germany. It was
so
crazy.
good. Yeah, they're known for like having like really good restaurants and bars and like all of that.
Yeah. They had like Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte, which is like Black Forest cake. Yeah, it was great.
I wonder where it was. Probably Washington Street. But yeah, Hoboken's like a really
Yeah.
popular to go to spot. And it's so funny you mentioned diners because New Jersey is known for like being the diner capital of the country because
Oh, is it?
yeah, there's one in like almost every other town. Yeah.
Oh, cool. What's one diner I should go to? Because I have this new YouTube channel where I'm like trying. It's like German tries American food. So I tried my first peanut butter jelly sandwich. I've never tried it before. I just tried it for the first time like a month ago.
That's
So
hysterical.
Americans love that shit. Like Europeans trying American food. So I kind of want to go to like a typical diner. I'm shooting a video in Chicago today, going to a Wiener Circle, like a Chicago hot dog, because I've
Yeah.
never had a hot dog here. So yeah, I'm excited to check out a diner in New Jersey.
Oh my God, that's so
Yeah.
funny. It's a good one. Chit Chat Diner, I would say. It's in Hackensack. It's not far from Teterboro Airport. It's like 5, 10 minutes.
Hackensack. That
Yeah.
sounds hilarious. Hackensack, that's such a cool name. Jesus.
It's like
Hackensack.
24 hours. And the food there, like out of other diners in Bergen County, I would say that diner is really good. Like the food is good there, and they also serve alcohol. So, and it's
Okay,
24 hours.
nice. Do they have the booth?
The booth, yeah.
Because the booth is something it doesn't exist in Europe. We only know it from movies. So for me, it's like so cool. When I love booths, it's my favorite place to sit. Yeah,
So
I feel
you're
like I feel like a cheerleader. I feel like a cute little cheerleader being, in a high school rom com, or like a college rom com.
so boots aren't like a thing in Europe, really?
No, no, we just I don't know. We hot Germans. We just stand while we eat. No, I don't know. It's just so different. It's a purely American thing. I'm not joking about this when I say it's very nostalgic for me because I see it in these like when I see a booth, I'm like, oh, this is so retro, so American. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just know it from movies. So yeah, we don't have that. No, there's a lot of things we don't have in Germany. Also, like I mean, food wise, also it's so different. We don't have like milkshakes. It's not really a thing in Germany either. Like things like onion rings, never seen those. We just have very different food. So yeah. Even my dad, I brought my dad came to America like for Christmas last year, and yeah, he loved all the American stuff, that he couldn't see. I mean, we love it as to try it. I don't know if we'd want to have it every day, but
Yeah.
um yeah, there's a fascination with America that a lot of Americans don't know about that Europeans have. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Like
interesting.
for me, American Pie, do you know American Pie, the movie American Pie?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like I'm obsessed, and my dream was always I just wanted to go to like a college party and do a keg stand, and like play beer pong, that kind of stuff. We don't do at all. Like college parties are not a thing because also we have in Germany you can drink when you're 16, so we
Yeah.
don't have the need to go crazy in college. College is a very chill experience. Of course, people party, of course, because you're like whatever, like 19, 20, 24 years old. So of course you do party quite a bit, but like this whole fraternity culture with like where you like
In
with your
America,
friends and you
yeah,
make
like
love
college
to you make
bars.
love to apple pies, that kind of stuff. That's what I wanted to do. And then I've never seen that. I mean LA I've never really seen that. But that was the expectation I had about America. So yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. It's always interesting here from like someone from Europe, like their perspective on life here.
Hmm. And vice versa. I mean, what do you think about Germany? It's like
Um,
a stereotype you have.
I don't know if I have a stereotype. I mean, I've always wanted to go to see how life is there. Um, I feel like Germans could possibly be more
Oh,
reserved than,
very cold. Yeah, yeah. But also more, it's almost like more like East Coast a little bit. Because West Coast, like in LA especially, people are like, oh my God, so good to see you. Oh my God, you look so pretty. Like it's very like that, but it's maybe not as authentic. Often it's a little bit fake,
yeah.
Whereas East Coast is a little bit like, hey, people say what they mean, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, go F yourself, Tony, you know what I mean? That kind of. So I feel like Germany is a little bit more like that, where it's a bit more authentic and a bit less nice, Like the German is very respectful, but more cold for sure. Like we're not like overly emotional, we don't laugh a lot, but when we do, it's very authentic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I want to make my way out there. I'm not that familiar. I feel like the food is also probably more fresher in Europe. I mean, like in America, you need to know like where to go for quality and where that shit to avoid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I feel like in general, Europe, the food is probably like more fresher. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um,
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, 100%. I mean, I have a friend who just went to Europe. He's American, he's from Tennessee. He's one of my best friends in LA. And he went to Europe and he said, this is crazy. Also, if you look around Europe, and not to like, shun America too much, but it's true. Like, it's not even American, it's not Americans' fault. It's just like the food. If you look at this, if you go to a burger place or like a fast food place, McDonald's, you can get a meal for like whatever, $5, $6, like with a burger or something like that. If you go to Whole Foods and you buy a salad, it's like $18. I'm like, how is that? That's crazy. You know what I mean? So in
yeah.
Germany, is like fast food is actually more expensive and we don't have as much of it. So it's more Whole Foods and stuff like that. And somehow it's just more affordable to eat healthy. And in
Well,
general, the food is just like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's like that. That is very good. America needs to catch on to that because it's like if you want healthier, you need to pay more. Although that's not always the case from what I'm hearing, but yeah. Especially if you're in an area of the country that doesn't have that many options. I mean, fortunately, I'm in like a good area where I have really good options. But like, people like if you're out in the Midwest or something, you might not have as many options. So it depends, where
yeah.
you
I mean, also, there's a lot of stories of Americans that always tell me, oh my God, I went to Italy and
unless
I
you have a
ate
farm.
pasta. Yeah, yeah, but they were like, "Oh, I ate pasta and I like drank some wine." And in America, when I eat bread, like for me, for example, when I eat bread in America, like my stomach doesn't like it. I have a little bit of stomach issues, so I try to avoid bread here. When I eat bread in Germany, I'm fine. So there's something about like everything's highly processed. And I have
Yeah.
friends again, they go to Italy, they eat pasta, they eat pizza, they drink wine and stuff like that, and they say they come back and they lost weight. They're like,
It's
"How's that
chicken
possible?"
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, so many people say that. So I don't know. I don't know. I truly don't know what it is. It's just the overall quality of food might be better. Um, yeah. But hey, I don't want to be one of these like one thing I don't like is when all these Europeans just like always shit on America. There's a lot of things that are wrong with America, but I love America. Like I'm here for a reason. I think it's great for a lot of things. I will say food, maybe not one of them, but the entertainment industry, it's great. There's a lot of things you can do here. So yeah. But yeah, for food, I would definitely go to Italy before Ohio. But that's just
Yeah.
me. Let's see.
Yeah. So like this tour, I'm excited to see you. I'm gonna be at the one in November. So I'll probably see
Oh
you.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Are
Yeah,
you doing
at the stand, yeah.
on this tour? Are you like doing meet and greets or like before or after the show with fans?
Yeah. Yeah, because right now I'm doing comedy clubs, like 200 seaters, stuff like that. So I do meet and greet after the show all the time. Because again, truly, I'm not just saying this, that's one of my favorite things. Like last night at Dane in Chicago, I did it's cool to see the faces of people who follow me, you know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
just a number on like, you have like whatever, 600,000 followers. And then it's like, okay, I see the people and there's like one guy I met yesterday told me a story. He's from Romania and moved to America and he can relate to the things I said about like, I had this joke about I hate when people notice my accent. I was like, I went into an Uber, I said hi. The Uber driver was like, "Oh my God, where's your accent from?" I was like, "Bitch, I said hi." Yeah, I didn't say hi, I said hi. And he said he could relate to that so much because it's the same thing happens to him. And it's just beautiful to meet those people and actually see the faces behind the number of followers. So yeah, there's gonna be meet and greet in all the shows.
Oh, good, good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And yeah, so people should give all your social media, your website, everything.
Yeah, so social media is Mario Adrion. So it's Mario like Super Mario. Like, it's me, Mario.
Oh, I like that
And
color.
yeah, I have a tattoo that says "It's me." Um, And then last name is Adrion, Adrion. So marioadrion.com for all my tour dates or the New York show. And then on Instagram. Instagram is the best place right now, for sure. Mario Adrian on Instagram is yeah, all the links are there.
Yay, everyone should check out the show. I'm gonna definitely be at the New York Comedy Festival. I can't wait for that actually. That's like my jam. But yeah,
Awesome.
looking forward to it.
Do you do comedy as well?
No, no, but I interview a lot of comedians. So like this
Okay, cool. Yeah.
all the time, like and like my number one audience, because I get analytics for my podcast. So my number one audience is actually comedy listeners.
Oh,
So
that makes sense.
yeah, and I actually saw those numbers the end of last year, and then I'm like, okay, so I should start catering more to that audience if they're listening. And that's probably
Yeah.
I feel like I garnered a lot of comedy listeners just because I'm very unfiltered on here. And
Yeah. It's great.
like so like this year alone I've had, if I could try to remember all of them, Kathy Griffin, Nikki Glazer, Margaret Cho, um
Wow.
the host of And That's Why We Drink, you, uh,
Hmm.
God, Gabe Gibbs. And I know
Hmm.
I'm forgetting some right now. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
Ursula Carlson, Celeste Barber. So yeah, I've had a
Mhm.
lot of comedians on.
Great. Well, maybe one day you can do comedy as well. You know?
Some of my friends say that I should do it just because how like I'm very quick-witted. So like I have like a couple
Yeah,
friends who
it's
are like, you should just do it. You should. I'm like, I don't know if I'm prepared for that. But like
yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoy it. I enjoy speaking with comedians, interviewing them. I
Yeah.
enjoy shooting the shit with people. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, thanks for joining me today. Let's stay in touch. I'm gonna follow you on Instagram.
Yeah,
Um,
please, please let me get you. So it's Will. I found your Instagram, yeah. And then yeah, excited if you want to come to the show, let me know about guest lists and stuff like that. I can put you on.
oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. For the New York one, for sure. I just followed you, by the
Yeah.
way. Um, but yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. You have any more interviews today, or you just like, is that it for you?
For today, yeah, that's it. And then
Mhm.
I have a couple this week, but for today, that's it.
Okay. Cool.
So
Awesome.
a busy bee. I had the podcast,
Yeah.
and I write for a magazine out in Jersey, and I also do like media operations work for NBC. So like I have like a bunch of like
Oh,
shit going on. Yeah,
yeah.
I like it. I
Doing
like
the East Coast hustle.
yeah, the East
Yeah,
Coast
that's
hustle.
cool. That's cool. Well, I'm on the Midwest hustle right now. I'm gonna shoot some more videos later, and yeah, then off to Europe.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. You'll have fun out there.
Yeah, to the hometown, the motherland, the Vaterland.
Oh, that's
Cool.
cool. I need to start traveling more because like I traveled a lot 2 years ago, like 2 years ago. I loved it. I found it to be so therapeutic, so I need to like get back on that.
Yo, I learned more about myself from traveling than college could have ever taught me. 1000%. Like being in Asia, being in Milan, all these places, like you learn so much about yourself. So yeah, that's what Americans don't do as much because Europe obviously is easier. Because from my hometown, I can go to France in like 30 minutes, in
Yeah.
Switzerland in 20 minutes, and then Holland, Amsterdam in like a few hours. So it lends itself to traveling more. But yeah, you should do it. If you go to Germany, let me know. I can give you some pointers in Berlin if you want some hot German techno parties. Yeah, I got you.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love EDM. So that's like my scene, the music
Yeah,
scene.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot there. That's what Berlin's known for. So
Oh man, I can't wait. So I'll see you in November then.
cool. Awesome. Looking forward to that. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. A good conversation. I love that we
Yeah.
like everything. So like heavy stuff, and
It was a
behind
little deeper and then also a little lighthearted with the German stuff. Yeah. So
yeah, I love that. I'm happy with the conversation.
thank
So
you. When does it so what does it come out again? It's on iHeartRadio, but like
yeah,
is it on any like
it'll be everywhere. iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple. Yeah.
okay, cool.
So I'll
Awesome.
tag you on everything when it comes out for sure.
Please. Please. Appreciate that. Cool.
Yay.
All right.
Right.
Well, I'll go back to work. Great talking to you.
You too.
And I'll see you in November.
Yes,
Looking
I'll see
forward
you
to that.
in November. Definitely. We'll have fun.
All
Stay in
right.
touch.
Awesome. Thanks, Phil. Bye bye.